Hello and welcome to the Wolfchase Toyota Insider, the Memphis Tiger Network. I'm Jeff Brightwell. I'm joined with head coach Daron Schoenrock and coach over the weekend back at FedEx Park against USF. And we knew this team was young like Memphis, and we've seen, different teams in the league this year. Really hard to find many well-rounded, complete teams, and it's obvious Billy Moll's team, very good on the mound. If they can get their young lineup going as far as consistent hitting, they could be dangerous once we get to Clearwater. But as far as starting pitching, they're pretty solid.
Very solid on the mound. Built kind of similar to a Tulane team without the experience in the lineup. Their starters are very capable of going out there and shutting down a young team like us, which they've done quite a bit. And then, on the offensive side, we gave too much away from the mound at times and just didn't pitch in enough counts. Series got started with a good win, and then from there they did a good job with Chris. It just didn't unfold from the starting pitching like it is. We had some very bright spots in relief. James Muse came in and really pitched well again. Dalton Kendrick pitched well in the pen, and Walker pitched well. So we have some pieces in the bullpen that are starting to come back. You saw us get Bailey Wembley on the mound for the first time in 3 weeks. What a benefit that was. So another 1-3 weekend, but signs of some life on the pitching staff, which I'm encouraged with.
Carson Fulmer gave you a solid start. It's funny that ball game, that was really, it started out the first inning thinking, well, this thing's going to the runs are going to get up there really quick in this game, but both Dylan Burns and Carson really settled in that ball game. Become a really nice pitcher's duel. Really nice.
Carson did, he did some veteran type things where he made some damage control pitches. He commanded a changeup when he needed to. A lot of times that's the pitch that can get you out of jams, because hitters start getting very aggressive when you're behind in the count, and when RBI situations come up, they get very fastball hungry and very fastball aggressive. And he was able to pull some strings there to get us out of a jam. And then from that point on, he gained some confidence and took it as deep as he could take it.
Day number 2, you had to play another doubleheader because of the rain that was going to come in on Sunday, and we got some of that rain. 7-4, 10-inning loss, and then a 6-5 loss. Your guys battled because you came back to force extra innings. The second game, the 6-5 game, was the game where they jumped out big early, and you guys stayed calm, chipped away, had a chance there in the ninth.
Had a chance in the ninth, tying run on. We had a couple of strikeouts in the ninth that hurt us. The strikeout was the looming, deterrent for us offensive this weekend. Is obviously in the one loss, we struck out 22 times or something, but that guy was on top of his game.
Yeah.
So it's we're doing some stuff this week to really continue to help hitters handle the outer half of the plate. One of the issues is we're very right-handed dominant in the lineup. And so when a righty gets into a groove, we don't have the left-right, things that we're addressing some of that in recruiting. But so we're going to have to, tell our guys that are playing, like, look, once a guy gets on a roll that's commanding that outer half, we've got to change who we are. So another tough weekend, but also a weekend where we saw signs of some things that hadn't happened in the past start happening. So guys are continuing to work and show up and practice. We've had some really good practices, and this team continues to practice hard and do the right things.
Well, with Ian Bibiloni's improvement, you've moved him up in the order. He gets you a home run over the weekend. Then Alec Trolley gets a swing off, and maybe you're starting to see Alec, as we've seen in his prior years here, start to put something together in the back half of the season.
Yeah, he always gets going when classes end. Alec had a freak injury at third where a guy slid and got spiked in the face a little bit, had some stitches, patched up, and came back and played a great game the next day. Had got a couple of big swings off the next day. So, and man, some of the defensive plays he made at third were kind of reminiscent of the old Jacob Wilson days. Yeah. We haven't seen that since Jacob, handled the hot corner, but just phenomenal hands. And other coaches around the league are starting to comment about how many plays he makes at third that save us. And we're excited to see Alec get going. And he's really approaching this from a mental standpoint very well. He's in a good place. He knows his baseball playing days are winding down, and he's taking advantage of every day, like Evan Bell is. They're just taking advantage of an opportunity to play, and they're giving us what they can.
Coach, you have Houston over the weekend, but as you just mentioned, with some time winding down for some guys, for several of these guys, your seniors, and who knows who else, be the final time they're going to play a ball game at FedEx Park. Over the last season, not just looking at, on the field, wins and losses, but what's the senior class meant? Because they had their season taken out from under them last year due to COVID. You didn't know what was going to happen this year. 4-game series, different protocols. Every week's kind of an uncertainty, not only for baseball, but life when we went through this pandemic. What has this senior class brought to this program as a whole?
Well, I think they brought some toughness. 3 or 4 of those guys, Jeff, in a normal year last year would have had good seasons. Dakota was off to a great start. Had the draft been a normal 35 rounds like they usually go, I would have expected Dakota would have been drafted. Maybe Trello would have been drafted. Danny Dens did get a chance to play pro ball. James Muse has kind of reformed who he is as a pitcher, and after the injury, and has kind of learned a new style of pitching. He went from a power guy as a freshman to now he's a plus and minus finesse guy. So he's had to remake himself. Chris Durham could have moved on in life, and he's come back and thrown some good games for us, and he's got limited physical ability, but he's just a very strong mental, mentally very strong and very mature as a pitcher. And so I guess this senior class has given us some stability after a real tough things that happened to them each individually in their life last year. We are going to also have a number of juniors that have, because of COVID and stuff, they're juniors from an eligibility standpoint, but they're graduating and electing to move on into the real world. So we're going to honor a bunch of people on Saturday. So it's a happy day, but it's also a sad day, and because you're starting to say goodbye to guys that you're around every day and build relationships with.
And you also have to battle the Houston Cougars over the weekend. Traditionally, they've been kind of one of the top teams, a contender. I know Todd's team scrapping a little bit this year.
Yeah, they're very similar to us. They're having good days. They're having one game where they put it all together on the weekend, and then they're having a few where things get away. So it'll be an interesting matchup. They've got a lot of guys back, but they've had a couple of COVID series. They're 4 games behind us in games played. They've had some struggles there, but it looks like they've pitched a lot of guys. They're trying to search on the mound like we are. I think they've pitched something like 16 or 17 guys, and they've got about 22 hitters that all have at bats. So searching for that formula, we're all trying to line ourselves up for Clearwater. And one thing about a Houston team, though, they always play extremely hard. They always have a couple of real scary guys right in the middle of the order and a bunch of good table setters around them. So it'd be a fun series, and be fun to get another home series under our belt.
I know it's still 2 weeks away, but since you just mentioned it, I think it's going to be a crazy week in Clearwater with everything. And, a lot of young teams, a lot of teams that they're heavy in one aspect of their game. It could be a crazy week down there. Yeah.
And, when I looked at the number of guys on our roster that have been to Clearwater, and there's really not that many, Goodman, Brooks, Trella, Dakota, there's probably 7 or 8 that have been there. There's a bunch of new guys that have never been to Clearwater that are playing every day for us. So it'd be fun to see those guys get to experience that for the first time.
All right, Coach, we'll let you go, and we will see you out of the ballpark this weekend.
Thanks, Jeff. Always enjoy it. Thank you.
Head coach Daron Schoenrock. I'm Jeff Brightwell with the Wolfchase Toyota Insider of the Memphis Tiger Network.